Surgery is a field that is ever evolving, though historically has been one that is male-dominated. Over the last decade, the number of female medical students and trainees has significantly increased, and now females make up the majority of medical students in the United States. However, the rate of females pursuing surgery and subsurgical specialties has not followed that same trend. Minorities and females are substantially underrepresented in fields like orthopedics, otolaryngology, and neurosurgery, along with other surgical specialties. It is imperative to address this disconnect and to determine ways to increase the diversity of surgical specialties. Pipeline programs and societies, such as the Nth Dimensions and the Ruth Jackson Orthopedic Society, have offered initiatives and ways to increase the exposure of women and minorities in surgical subspecialties. Nonetheless, there are still barriers that exist that prevent certain minorities from entering these fields. Specifically, hijab-wearing Muslim women have a difficult time finding a balance between donning compliant religious attire and maintaining modesty, while also complying with hospital and operating room regulations. To address these barriers to surgery, extensive research was conducted of all of the ACGME accredited residency programs in neurological surgery, orthopedic surgery, and general surgery in the United States that were listed on the AAMC website. Once the number of residents wearing hijabs were identified, the American College of Surgeons was contacted and asked about any hijab-wearing women who are members of the ACS. Upon compiling demographics of hijab-wearing surgeons in the United States, an extensive literature search was conducted across different countries and hospital cultures to determine possible solutions and accommodations for hijab in the OR. After researching over 575 residency programs in neurological surgery, orthopedic surgery, and general surgery, there were 9 identified hijab-wearing women out of the 9,673 residents. That's less than 0.1%. Of those, 8 of them were general surgery residents, and 1 was an orthopedic surgery resident. Upon contacting the American College of Surgery Membership Committee, there was 1 identifiable hijab-wearing surgeon. Based on the alternatives for hospital personnel in other parts of the world, and based on what is available from companies that supply OR clothing, alternatives have been identified. Long-sleeve scrub jackets should be made easily accessible in OR locker rooms for hijab-wearing women to wear over their scrubs until they begin scrubbing in and donning sterile attire. Especially since no outside clothing is allowed, it would be most comfortable for women to wear a long-sleeve scrub jacket over their scrubs. Similarly, surgical hoods should be made readily available in the OR locker rooms so that women who wear hijab can easily cover their hijab and remain compliant with both sterile code and procedures and religious obligation. Lastly, encouraging hijab-wearing women to indicate on their intake forms and in new hire contracts that they will need long-sleeve scrub jackets along with surgical hoods for proper OR attire is recommended. By removing the barriers and hindrances that have prevented hijab-wearing Muslim women from entering surgical fields, a new subset of talent can pursue surgical careers and help contribute to the evolution of the field of surgery. A collection of educational materials has been created in efforts to address and remove these barriers, including this video on how to scrub in wearing hijab, along with a detailed plan on how to request and implement accommodations at medical schools and institutions around the United States. A guide to hijab in the OR. How to address barriers that prevent hijab-wearing women from pursuing careers in surgery. First off, contact the appropriate personnel. Reach out to those that have the ability to accommodate and make the change. These could be the HR manager or the OR nurse manager at your hospital, or the clinical director or dean of student affairs in your medical school. Then update your intake form. When beginning clinical rotations or accepting a new position as a resident or attending, indicate on your intake form that you'll be requesting accommodations to wear hijab in the OR. These include long-sleeve scrub jackets and surgical hoods to cover your hijab. Next, wear the proper substerile attire. With accommodations in place, you can comfortably wear your hijab in hijab-appropriate clothing that complies with hospital regulation. This includes long-sleeve scrub jackets, surgical hoods, and comfortable slip-on hijabs. Next, rock your hijab in your scrubs. It may take some time getting used to at first, but wearing a comfortable slip-on hijab that's light-colored, that does not lint, and a surgical hood over it is the best and most feasible option for compliance with substerile environments of the OR. Lastly, scrub in, then don a surgical gown. Take off your long sleeve scrub jacket to scrub in. Once finished, you'll don a sterile surgical gown that will keep you covered and compliant with hijab, sterility, and infection control and prevention. This is presented by Dina Kishawi, a second-year medical student at Loyola University Chicago. Feel free to contact her at dina.kishawi@gmail.com.